Okay, I had to put my electric cord or my charger cord into my camera, so I hope I'm not gonna bump it too much. So this piece of fabric now is ironed just to get the wrinkles out, so it's gonna be easier to work with. So I'm gonna use my wood glue on the paper here. And I'm putting out a pretty good amount because I want the fabric to stick well. And I'm gonna use my card here and scrape it on. When I have put the fabric on, it means I'm gonna have to go in and re-punch the holes, but that is not a big problem when you already have them started, so to speak. They're much easier to do again. And I'm gonna make sure I get the fabric to glue where I have the holes punched as well, and spreading the glue to the edges of my book cover, or my cardboard, chipboard, maybe. Now I'm going in, and I'm gonna flip my fabric around to make sure it's somewhat smooth. And the glue is gonna seep through the fabric, which to me is not a big deal. And I chose this is just an ordinary cotton fabric. I get a lot of fabric and stuff from different thrift shops and stuff, and this is like a piece of bed linen or something, and I get it cheaply, and I cut it up. I buy clothes and stuff that I cut up and stuff for laces and things. So I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna fold this piece in. And this fabric will be fabulous to paint over when I'm done. So now I have it like this. And here I'm gonna go in and at an angle cut off the excess. Because I don't want so much bulk, I hope you can see me, in the when I fold this over. So, let's see so you can see this. Yep. It's hard to get it all in frame, but I'm doing my best. Today is just a day where my mouth isn't working together with my brain. So I'm going in again with some more glue. You see I'm not skimping on the glue. I'd rather have it seeping a bit than not be enough and not grab the fabric and stuff. And I'm also going in a little bit with the leftover glue on my card to get the fold over fabric. And here the fabric is stretching a bit, so I'm going to fold it again. To get it to lie better. Make sure I get glue so it sticks everywhere. Here I notice. so. And I'm gonna go in and do the same thing on the top side. And if I notice somewhere that it's not sticking when it's starting to dry, I just go in with more glue. And I'm gonna fold the top over, smooth it down, make sure it sticks. And I'm not a seamstress at all. I don't even own a sewing machine. Sewing machine doesn't like me. But I sew by hand when I sew. And if you can see here, where there is fabric on fabric, the fabrics are gonna suck up more of the glue, which means you have to probably go in with some extra glue just to make sure that it sticks down properly. So now I have it like this, as you can see. Here I have some bubbles. I saw some bubbles. I'm just gonna go in with glue on the top and just push it through the fabric to make it stick. Make sure it's nice and stuck down on the spine. This will also help with the stability or the sturdiness of your spine. Fabric is a great way to use if you don't have like Tyvek or something like that. You can use fabric on the spine to help it not from tearing. So I'm gonna go in here and just keep using glue, and here it's gonna be a little bit more complicated. I'm gonna squirt glue as much as I can to get this fabric folded down in as straight of a line that I can. And I'm gonna use my card to try to get it on smoothly. There again. And if I see it's starting to like not fold properly and stuff, because it's gonna stretch a little bit, I lift it up and try to get it back in place. So I'm gonna go in with glue all over this, and here I'm gonna use quite a lot of glue since the fabric needs to soak up all this glue. And I'm having a non-stick mat on my table to make stuff like this a lot easier. And this one, I actually went to IKEA the other day and found this in the baking section, which it's a really nice size. And it costs only 39 Swedish crowns, so it's a good price. And I'm also going to go in here, because I'm going to fold this piece of fabric over to make it really super sturdy. To act as the flap of my little book. So I'm making sure I get plenty of glue on there so it's gonna stick. And I'm just gonna stick it on, folding it over itself. And I'm gonna go here. And this is, since there's so many layers of fabric on this, it's hard to not get it to bubble or things like that. But I'm not that hard on myself on things like this. If I can get it to look pretty straight and pretty good, you're not gonna see most of it either way, because I'm gonna paint it and stuff like that. And I'm actually gonna take my brayer and I'm gonna go in and bray this part down. And if I see that it's dry and it's lifting and stuff, I go in with glue on top and I bray it down, or bray it into the fabric. And this is actually a total experiment for me. I've never made a book this way before. It's the first time I've covered things in fabric before, but the first time I made a flap this way, which is quite interesting. So I'm hoping it's gonna work properly, and we will absolutely find out together. If you're a sewer, you can absolutely sew this on. It shouldn't be a problem at all to sew it, sew the fabric onto your book. It would probably maybe be easier, but since I'm not, this is the way I'm gonna do it. And you see where it bubbles up and stuff? I just go in with more glue. We're going to flip it over and do the exact same thing on the other side. Just make sure things is sticking down properly. Why isn't that one wanting to stick down? Stick some glue in between. And this you need to let dry absolutely thoroughly. So I probably won't come back to this until tomorrow. Just because I want it to be completely dry. And then we'll also see if it works or not. Otherwise I'm gonna have to make a new cover. That's okay too. It's an experiment. And as you can see, I'm just working the glue into the fabric so it soaks it up properly. And also same time checking to see if I've got any bubbles anywhere else on my book that needs working while I'm doing this. Just to make sure it's as proper as I can make it. No, I think it's pretty good. Okay, so I'm gonna let this dry and I'll see you again later. Bye. Okay guys, so I'm back and this is mostly dry and it has a really fun consistency. It's like, feels almost like there's paper inside of it. But I think it will be, when you use it more and more, it will probably soften up a little bit more. And I think this will be fabulous as a surface to paint on. I might put gesso on it when I finished my journal, since I'm probably gonna get a lot of inks and stuff on this fabric before I'm done. So this is how it looks. This is the inside and this is the outside, and here you can see very well the holes that I'm gonna need to repunch, which is not a big deal. But this, my signatures are gonna be sewn in like this, which means that this part is gonna show, and this part I don't like. So I cut a piece of paper. I just measured from this fold line here. It might be hard to see, but the little flap fold line to that, I don't want to cover any more paper on the thing that's gonna bend over my to hold my journal together when I'm done. But on these, the front, back and the spine, I want to cover up. So I cut a piece of paper and I made it a bit smaller than this piece of paper, or this piece of the box. So I'm gonna just glue this down, and I think you can stay with me while I do this. And I'm actually gonna use my Turbo Tacky glue for this, because I want a bit thicker glue, because there's a lot of glue on this now, but there's still fabric that has not been totally soaked in glue. So I'm thinking it's probably good to use a bit of a thicker glue. So I'm also, once again, not skimping on my glue. Rather have it a little bit too much than not enough, because I want this to be a journal that keeps up. And these journals are great to make for photos. Then you shouldn't use, of course, coffee stained paper because of the acidity in the coffee, but you can use different kinds of paper. They're great for making for writing in and for all kinds of stuff. I like homemade journals. They're usually really fun to work with. So once again, and this is how I put the tie wick down and everything. I'm just making sure I'm spreading all the glue I have on the back side of this paper out and evenly, and making sure that it's squishing out on the edges. So I'm making sure that I have glue all the way to the edges. And like here I can see I probably will not have enough glue. So I'm gonna go in with my glue and add some more. And this is to make sure that my glue will keep this piece of paper down for a long time to come. And this is just a 250 gram copy paper I bought from Kontorsmagasinet, and I think it was a pack of maybe 100 for 50 crowns or something, so good price. Much cheaper than going into an office store and buying them. And you see it's squirting out, and that's absolutely what I want. And I'm just checking to see if I see that there are some places where I can see a little bit of a crack between the paper and the fabric. And there I'm going in again and just adding more glue or pressing a little bit more. So once again, this is gonna need to dry. And when this is dry, I'm gonna punch the holes back up, and we're gonna get to sewing Oh my god. Sewing the signatures in. It's pretty late here. Okay, bye.